Welcome back, my religious football fanatics. We've been talking about football for quite some time, so today let's talk about football rules that even the most invested fans probably don't know about. For quite a long time, the rules of the treacherous game had scarcely been touched. In the last couple of seasons, however, those in control have torn up the rulebook, presenting endless changes. These rules have changed so much that you even see ex-referees on TV saying they have not the foggiest idea of what the rules are. They're out there on the field with like the book, they're like flipping through pages as somebody's doing stuff like, what, is that illegal? I don't know anymore. Oh, great. Obviously, that's an exaggeration. It's not actually something that happened, but how in the world is the ordinary fan supposed to keep up? So these are not something that generally you see in standard games or happens consistently, so regardless of how proficient you are in football, there are always a lot of uncommon, dark rules that you just haven't come across yet. So, unless you're a football referee, you can be excused if you haven't caught wind of some of these rules. Here are 10 rules that you most likely haven't known about. Rule number 1, don't click out of the video at any point. That will consequence you in death. I cannot speak English. So, let's start our video without wasting any more time. Oh, I love friendly intimidation. So there's no offside offense if a player gets the ball straight from 1, a goal kick, 2, a toss-in, or 3, a corner kick. The first one is pretty straightforward, and it doesn't really need reasoning. Yet, the new rules state that opponent players cannot be existing inside the penalty box during a goal kick, and this can be used by the opponent team to beat the rival press and gain an advantage. During penalty shootouts, an equivalent number of players should be present in the two teams to take the penalties. That is, if a match between Team A versus Team B closes in and attracts and moves to penalties, a player from Team A that got sent off previously during the match, then, at that point, just 10 players from Team B can be available for the shootout. This occurred during one of the biggest matches in the world of football. In 2006, the FIFA World Cup final, believe it or not, this match is actually known as scandalous for a certain something. Zinedine Zidane headbutting Italy's Marco Materazzi. For the unenlightened, Materazzi, an Italian central defender, who would proceed to become the player manager of Chennai FC, abused Zidane and got him a headbutt directly in the center of his chest. Zidane got sent off and the match entered the penalty shootout stage. As France had just 10 players, Italy needed to exclude one of their own from the shootout, and Gennaro Gattuso, who completed over a whole 120 minutes, was the one to sit out. So, at least he got his break. There should be at least 7 players on a team for the pitch for a match to begin or proceed. This implies a limit of 4 red cards that can be given to on-field players on a group of a solitary match. A 5th one would stop the match, as one team wouldn't have the anticipated number of players or the required number of players on the pitch for the match to continue. So why is there an offside rule? Is it to keep the attacking team from stopping one of its players close to the opponent's goal? Well, if there was no offside rule, we might just call this sport airball rather than football, as there'd be no defense parting through balls, perfect crosses, coordinated runs. Where would be the fun in that? If a player gets the ball in his half and he's in an offside position when the pass was made, it implies that the team in its half has not kept one of its players holding up close to the rival goal. Thus, the situation for not calling offside, even though the player getting the ball is closer to the goal than the ball and the second last defender, would not invalidate the point the offside rule was made for. This possibly holds when the player getting the pass has not crossed the midway line when the pass is made. This is too straightforward, and it doesn't really need a great explanation. And also, to be completely forthright, I would not blame you if you figure it would look ludicrous if a solitary player on the pitch wears a tracksuit while the other ones are in shorts, because I happen to share your thought. What's more, when you talk about goalkeepers wearing tracksuit bottoms, you cannot leave out René Higuita, the previous goalkeeper of the Colombian national team, also called El Loco. He's fundamentally known for 2 things now, his tracksuit bottom and an extraordinary, daring scorpion kick against England in a cordial. Also, he did it wearing a tracksuit bottom. This rule was presented recently, in 2016 in fact, to forestall any offenses like quarrels between players in the tunnel before the match begins. This is referenced in the FA Laws of the Game. Law 3, the players. You might have known this, but let us hear the nitty-gritty of the rule here. If a player is sent off before the team list has been submitted to the referee, he cannot be on the team in any capacity for that match, though a replacement player can be brought in from the reserves if the team has any. If a player who has been named on the team list submitted to the referee is sent off before the match, he can be substituted by a player from the bench, if he was in the playing 11 and the substituted player cannot be replaced. If the sent-off player is not in the playing 11, then the team simply has to play the match with one less substitute on the bench, though the number of substitutions the team makes can remain the same. Substitutions the team can make remains the same. You remember that Patrice Evra karate kick? It was an incident reminiscent of one United player, Eric Cantona, the fullback, who was playing for Scarcely at that point, sent off a kick in one of his own team's fans before the beginning of a Europa League match, and thusly he was sent off. And he was at some point named as a substitute in his group, list submitted to the referee, and he was not placed during the game, and Marseille had to play off with one less substitute on the seat. In a penalty in typical time, the extra shot taker can't contact/kick the ball to score after the kicked ball hits post and rebounds, except if it is moved by another player. Either the ball should be moved by his partner, or the ball should be moved by the goalkeeper, and only at that time would the penalty kick taker attempt to score on the rebound. If a team gets a free kick and the defending team has to set up a wall of at least 3 players, then at that point no player from the attacking team should be inside 1 meter of the divider. This rule was presented because when a player from the attacking team is a part of the divider or close to it, then at that point he or she can simply move and make space, which can be used by the free kicker to score. The IFAB, which governs and helps to develop the laws, had this to say: "Attackers standing very close to or in the defensive wall at a free kick often cause management problems and waste time. There's no legitimate tactical justification for attackers to be in the wall, and their presence often damages the image of the game." FIFA law conditions that a manager can save hold the ball for 6 seconds. So, whenever they've collected it through a shot, cross, or some other method for dissemination, they need to deliver the ball somehow or another following 6 seconds to show that he isn't holding it. The keeper can only bounce the ball for 6 seconds and doesn't have to pass or dispose it. All the keepers need to do is show that he or she has released the ball from his or her grip. This rule isn't really upheld, however, in the case that the keeper holds the ball for a long time and the ref sees it, then at that point the indirect free kick will be granted against the keeper's team. So, don't hold it for too long, otherwise you're basically just setting it up to be shot on again. So number 1 is ironically a pretty simple one. If an immediate free kick is kicked directly into a team's own goal, a corner kick is granted to the opposing team. Yet, if the goalkeeper or some other player had contacted the ball before going past the goal line, then at that point, a goal will be granted. I hope these crazy rules entertained you guys as much as they entertained football freaks. One wouldn't mind the weird side to such a treacherous game when the obsession is real. And on this note, it's time to wind up today's video. Well, wrap up. I guess winding up would be the very beginning. I wound up in the beginning and I went and now we're here at the end. So, yeah, hope you guys liked it. And if you did, like, subscribe, share, notification bell, all those keywords, and later.